At this point, it's like taking all that same energy, that same passion, the same effort, and putting it into videos for myself. It's way more rewarding. Bro, I was humbled real quick when like no jobs are coming in. I was like, okay, well, I guess I gotta get back to being a videographer. Like I gotta, you know what I mean? Like get the gimbal out, start doing my own thing again. I set up this whole thing. I had this like motorized slider and I got this shot only to realize I didn't hit record. At this point, I've learned to just be like, yo, that was awesome. I want to tweak a little something and we gonna run that again. Yeah. Keep that same energy. Like what I'm trying to do is make sure my mind doesn't get on trying to keep up with the young kids or trying to be relevant or trying to get the views, because that was not why I started. And as soon as you start doing that, you start making like copy and paste. Like I said, you made the same recipe because it tastes good, because people like it. I'm gonna do the same video again. Like I said before, I'm depending on other people to make my stuff look good. And so I was kind of tired of that. And I was like, I want to be better. I want to be that dude when it comes to like, if I have a camera in my hand, I'll be able to find a shot. I'll be able to make it look like a movie.
Welcome to episode 4 of Beyond the Cut. Today we got Renthedirector, and he has such a cool background. Own production company, started doing music videos. So a lot of his videos have this unique style and world to them. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you guys do, please like and subscribe. Let's get on with the episode. You have a production company, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And you've worked with brands like Adidas, Apple, Wendy's. I saw artists, Gucci, Twista. Can you talk about how you started that and like why you started it?
Taking it back, from 2012 to 2015, I was working at a corporate job, an office job, and I was an export customer service coordinator. You know, I was doing my thing. That was my first like real job. And at the same time, I was rapping. So I was taking my money from there and I was going to the studio and I was making, do my little rap career off, trying to blow up.
The hustle.
Yeah. 2015, they kind of let us know that they're outsourcing our company our department to Mumbai, India. So they didn't need any of our department any longer. And they found me like a pilot position where I was basically cold calling customers and trying to get them to like reestablish their relationship with the company and find out why they weren't buying anymore. And so I just had to call like over 100 people a day, and it was terrible. And so during that time, because I was just so like bored and I loathed what I was doing so much, I was like watching YouTube. I was watching YouTube every day. I was like making phone calls. Sometimes I wouldn't even I would like dial the number and then one number off just so that way they didn't pick up. And I was like, cool. And so I was watching like a bunch of Casey, at the time it was like Casey Neistat, like daily vlogs. And I was so into it, seeing what he was doing. And I was like,
addicted.
I want to do this. I want to do this. This sounds cool. And kind of just knowing like, as much as I didn't enjoy my work, when I was in high school, sometimes I just like slacked off because I wasn't interested. And so I was like, I need to do something that actually interests me. And so that's what led me to getting a camera. I ended up buying a Canon 60D as my first camera. I tried to make the Casey vlog, and it was just trash. I had no business doing that. Kind of trying to figure out how to talk to camera publicly was weird, and then the whole shebang. So I started that, and once I kind of started posting a little bit of stuff, or just sharing that I was starting this journey, a couple of kids from my high school, a couple of years younger than me, hit me up, and they were like, "Yo, can you shoot a music video for us?" And I was like, "I could shoot a music video for you guys. I could do that." So like I'd never shot a music video. I was freaked out. I was super nervous. So I used one of my rap songs and I shot a video for myself in my bedroom at my mom's house at the time. I was just like trying to see what I was capable of effect-wise and if I knew how to cut things up. And so I presented that to them like, this is what you guys can expect from me. Yeah, exactly.
Here you go.
And they were with it. So they were like, cool. So I shot the music video with them. Dude, first music video, I didn't know what B-roll was. So it's just performance after performance. Yeah, it was just straight up performance, no B-roll at all. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was dope for a while. And I saw somebody that I knew from making music had their music video. I was like, oh, look at all this other stuff they incorporate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What the hell is this?
Yeah, so that kind of got me into the mix. And then I met my business partner, Alex, at a party that he threw. It was called Party with a Purpose. And it was PWAP. And what we would do is he would invite producers, photographers, videographers, people who cut hair, people who style clothes. And the whole idea was like, you come to the party ready to make something. And so we like,
dope.
you remember the mannequin challenge? with like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Ray
yeah, yeah,
Sherman
and
song.
everyone just
That
said
was
you could
like
kind of go.
exactly. That was like right when that came out. And so we made a mannequin challenge. That was what we made as a videographer team. And after that, he was like, "Yo, can you come help out on some music videos?" And so we helped each other out and realized at that point that like we can do way better work with each other than we can do dolo. And so we band together and then we started a production company, which it started out, it was called Kogarashi, which
Oh,
was like a
Kogarashi.
cool wind. It was like a Japanese or a
What?
cool wind. We were like,
Where did
yeah,
that even
Chicago,
go?
Windy City. Let's
Oh, okay, okay, I got it.
we were
Okay,
like
so
super
that's
into
actually really
anime.
dope. That's really dope.
Yes, and I was like hella into anime at the time, and I was like, "Yeah, we want to go something weird." And then no one could pronounce our name at all, and so we ended up like rebranding, and we came out with Exhibit 91 or XBT 91, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
story, man.
Dang. Is 91 because that's the year you guys born?
Yeah, you know it,
Ah,
you know it. Keep it
cool.
simple.
I like it. I like it. No, because I was wondering that, and I just assumed it was because there's three. Isn't there three of you guys?
There was a 4 of us to begin yes, now there's yes, there's 4 of us, 2 of us dropped off, then it was just me and Alex, and then, I had another homie that I met same time, we started doing a lot of work together, and we were like, "Yo, like, you wanna come under the fold of Exhibit 91?" So, that's the other Alex, Alex de Guzman and Alex Donowald, they're both AD.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
sandwiched in between a couple of Alexes, but yeah, that's the squad.
And just speaking of 91, just because we're on the topic, has growing up in the 90s influenced your work a lot?
100%.
And the music videos too, I feel like.
I would say that the most, right? The music videos for sure the most has been
Yeah.
influenced by just like, nostalgia or 90s style, picking in pieces that like uh when I was in I'd be like 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, like MTV Jams was the thing. And there was just like they would run music videos all day long. I would just watch that stuff all the time. And there were so many videos that stuck out to me that were just like, dude, like Outcast videos and
My
we were just
favorite
like,
videos. Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah, oh
there's a
yeah, I see
painting.
Andre back
Okay.
there.
I definitely understand, dude. Like that is hype. Now that we're on the topic, what was your favorite? Do you have a off the top, do you have a favorite music video from the 90s?
Um, yeah. I'm trying to think one that, like, really sticks out, I'm trying to think of the song name. It was an Outkast song. The song was called Morris Brown by Outkast. It
Oh,
was
okay. Yeah,
Morris
yeah, yeah,
Brown.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It was just a quirky ass music video. I was like, "Dude, this is super interesting." It was just a
Dang.
crazy cool video.
Visual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
dude.
ridiculous. Like, it was all none of it was real. It was definitely CG like crazy, but I remember that just stuck out to me. I was like, "Dude, what is this?" And it would just loop, because it came on, like, every couple of hours, and I love that video.
Yeah. I think for me is like any Missy video or Busta, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See is probably one of my favorites. Cause in that video they used I don't know if you remember, it's a lot of fisheye. And I think that's why I
Yes.
do a lot of my things with fisheye, just that whole vibe. And with Busta, that video, they used like the glow sticks and like they painted it on the dancers and then they sped it up. And I was like, ah, this is so cool, man.
Now that you bring that up, yes, give me some Mo, bro.
Ah,
Dude,
oh, dude, that whole man, that whole run, I think he had like a top tier videos, and he was just so animated with it. You know what I mean? As it's so good.
and not to mention, like, the art design, right? The art direction in that and, like, the builds that they would have.
The wardrobe, like the amount of money that they were spending on those videos was amazing, and I wish that they did that now, which kind of sucks. And I guess I could ask you about it. Like, I don't see that so much unless you're a really big artist. K-pop music videos probably do it the best right now, but on your side, because you started, back then, have you seen that diminish? Because everyone now has a camera that they can shoot on, and all that stuff, that the budget for music videos is getting smaller and smaller. And then artists are like, yo, Ren, I got $30, guy. Can you make me this dope video? And you're like, God, what am I supposed to do with this? Yeah.
Absolutely. A huge decline in music videos. I would say, like, 2021, I had, like, a really good music video year. That's when I did the Gucci video, and I got to work with a couple
Killed
of
it.
other artists. There's this artist named Who Killed Kenny out in LA that I work with often. Him and OK Coop, we used to make a lot of stuff, and there was a budget. It was funny because, like, as an independent artist, it didn't always make sense to put that much money into a music video, but there were a lot of folks that were doing it, and we were happy because we got to actually try to create something that was, like, of value. But return on investment on music videos was always so low for an indie artist that, like you said, unless you were a big time artist, like, it's not really making sense, and it didn't make that much sense at the time, but at least people were still, like, pushing it. The big thing was, like, if somebody notices that I do something really cool visually, I could pop off, and so they were, hitting us up, and we were happy to try to go as crazy as we could, and that's the thing we love about music videos. I love about music videos is, like, you can do anything. You can make people do what the wildest stuff that you want. There's really no boundaries there. So, but unfortunately, yes, it has declined intensely. The last year, I don't think I did a single music video. I know I think 2023 I didn't do a single music video. 2024 I might have had like one. Um, but it hurt a little bit. But honestly, that's when the shift to like commercial work started to happen because it was like there's some budget here. There's a little less creative freedom, but, like, sometimes we still try to get some of these music video ideas off in the commercial world. Yeah, it's hurt because, like you were saying, a lot of people are just trying to make social content right now. It's like, can we make 10 videos with the same song doing a verse or a hook or something like that and just kinda get in people's ear, which makes sense, and it's probably better for the artist in terms of, like, financial.
It's more width than depth, to be honest. Like, how
100%.
much can we and stuff with TikTok too, it's like with artists, just play a snippet of your song and just feed the algorithm, and then hopefully it picks up, which kinda ruins, like, the vibe, but so I can always appreciate a good music video and good visuals, but I think now, especially, with people like yourself who do music videos, do you find that a lot of that skill, talent, because it's a skill and talent to actually do music videos, and I watched your live with your friend Swopes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you talked about, like, this break in reality. Do you use that for your personal content, the stuff that you're doing?
Exactly. It's time
Right?
because that's the thing is, I'll tell you one thing that about music videos is, depending on the artist that you're working, not just any artist, they're artists themselves, right? And music videos are outrageously subjective pieces of artwork where it's like somebody could like it, somebody can hate it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when you work with an artist and you're trying to like you put all this effort and time and like love into trying to make something that speaks to you as well as the artist, and then they didn't not feeling it that much, you kind of just feel defeated. And so at this point, it's like taking all that same energy, that same passion, the same effort, and putting it into videos for myself. It's way more rewarding. At the end of the day, it's something that if I like it, that makes me happy, and then I get to learn new things, and I get to try things and experiment. And with music videos, it's kind of hard, especially if you're shooting something out of state. It's like you only get one chance to capitalize on what you're trying to do. And when you're doing stuff for yourself, it's like you can shoot it, you can put it in the editing bay. If it don't look right, you can go out and shoot it again, put the same clothes on and try again. So yeah, I definitely have been putting that effort and that passion into my own stuff as of late.
For you, because you've worked with, bigger productions with a lot more people, I think that's such a good place to start in terms of foundation because there's a lot of creators now, it's reverse. You start doing stuff by yourself and then you get on a job and they're like, they don't know how to act on set or like, they can't, if you're a DOP, realistically, you're not really calling a lot of the shots. You got some input in the creative stuff, or if you're set design a wardrobe or anything like that. Do you like working by yourself more, or do you still love the bigger production stuff? Or is it like a situational? Sometimes you want to dip into this, sometimes you want to dip into that. And
I like both. I really liked working with a team. There was a point in my time where I got like it was after 2021, I got to do a lot of jobs where I was working with a crew, and I kinda got like, I'm just gonna direct stuff. I'm not gonna touch the camera as much anymore, and bro, I was humbled real quick when, like, no jobs are coming in, and I was like,
yeah,
"Okay, well,
yeah, they don't
I
I,
guess I gotta get back to being a videographer, like, I gotta" you know what I mean? Like, get the gimbal out, start doing my own thing again. But yeah, I mean, I love working with a team. The one thing that I like, I don't wanna say I shied away, but the one thing that was, like, a little discouraging is I got worse, or I felt like I wasn't as good at the other things that as I needed to be. When I first started, I was, wearing every hat. I was the gaffer, I was the producer, I
yeah.
was the DP, the editor, the director, and all that stuff. So within the last year, like just making personal content, what the purpose of it was to get better without needing a team anymore. And whenever I have the opportunity to bring on a team, I will always, always, always do it, or at the very least, bring on a gaffer and a grip so that they can, like, light something and make it look really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, working by myself has been, you know, sometimes very frustrating and it can be discouraging. There's this one thing I shot recently where I had to take like my like Aperture 300D outside and it was raining, so I put like magic clamped an umbrella over it and I put a bag over like the ballast and I shot it through the window. I started filming things. I set up this whole thing. I had this like motorized slider and I got this shot only to realize I didn't hit record. So wait, not only did I not hit record, I brought the light back in the house and broke it down. And dude, I don't know how I still make the same mistakes that I used to make when I first started, but like I was so upset. I had to like throw a quick temper tantrum, and my girl was like, "Yo, go back
Relax.
outside. I'll help you bring the stuff outside and reshoot it." But
What
those
a
things can
trooper.
sometimes be like, man,
Oh.
I love to have a hand on set, you know?
Rookie mistakes still. Rookie
Yeah,
mistakes.
bro. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to identify these issues and like leave them in 2024. But sometimes they creep around and pop their head out.
You know what? It still humbles you. You know what I mean? You're like, thank God it was just you, though. Imagine you're like on set or like doing something, and you're like,
Oh,
bro.
we do
Once,
that.
trust me, it still happens. One time I was
Yeah.
recording a whole wedding, and I forgot to hit record when they're doing their vows.
That's scary. That's why I'd stay away from weddings because that scares me, bro.
That's like one day that you're never gonna get again. You
Yes.
know what I mean? It's a special day. You just see them. It's black.
And you see the red record button go on, you're like,
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
please tell me I hit it twice. Like, tell me I ever stopped and then hit re-record, and
then you go
it's
back. You're
never
like,
that way.
no. You're like, you're looking at the second camera. You're like, yo, did you get an angle? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
but
No, dude, I
man,
mean, I've definitely done that in music videos, and like, sometimes the artist will give their best performance, and
best
you
performance.
at this point, I've learned to just be like, "Yo, that was awesome. What I want to tweak a little something,
Another,
and we gonna run that again.
yeah,
Keep that same energy, like."
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be this one. Trust
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
You're like,
Exactly.
"Whew." That's what's good about music videos because there's so many different takes, and then you can
Yep.
like tweak it, and they're never like, "Oh, let me see that, let me see that," for the most part.
Right.
But where do you get your ideas from for your own personal stuff?
Definitely movies.
Uh,
I watch a lot of movies, and when I see something, I used to do the same thing for music videos. I would see like a scene play out that I'm like, this whole scene, I would just screen record something and be like, put an artist in this position and shoot the scene in a very similar way, light it differently. This like no one would know, and it's gonna look awesome. Obviously, like still like an artist, that whole thing.
yeah,
So I definitely do that a lot. I do be on Instagram checking out reels. So I get some inspiration. It's in terms of like my personal content, I get some
yeah,
inspiration from there. And then frame set, like frame set
yeah, yeah.
and
Frame
eye
set, eye
candy and some of
candy.
those
Yeah,
things. Yep. I'll go on there
great.
and kind of just browse and see things that stand out to me.
How important is music for you when you do your stuff?
It's the most important. It's like the top thing for me. If I don't have a track before I like edit, I'm not touching anything. Most recently, I did a video. I was like wearing this yellow jacket, and unfortunately for myself, I didn't pick a track prior to. It was like really foggy outside, and I was like, I need to go outside and make something. I had no idea what I was going to make, and so when I came back home, I ended up picking a Kendrick track. And I was like, oh man, I wish I did this first because I would have danced to this. I would have said some of the lyrics. And so like I literally was like, okay, this is gonna be better if I do that. So I waited for like another similar looking day, put the same clothes back on, and like went back out and got the shots that I needed. But that just goes to like just to show, like, just say like I need my music prior to editing or really even coming up with the ideas. There's just so many different like instances of the song that might leave a gap or space for like a specific editing like move or something, but sometimes you need a shot to enhance that. So I would say music
Ah.
from the top down is my most important thing.
That's so interesting because I feel like, because, you rapping first, getting into music first, doing music videos, you see the importance of it. And I find that people who are more on that end of that spectrum tend to really lean into it because they understand, oh, this move hits a lot. Even if it's something as slight or there's a movement in something that sounds like an instrument or a noise, you're like, that looks so good visually, and you don't know why.
You can
It's not
just
just a
see it.
straight
You
cut.
can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I had a homie, the homie I used to do music videos with, he would send me a bunch of tracks and he'd be like, "Yo, I wanna do a song, I wanna do a music video for this song. and I was like, "Can you send me a couple more?" I would always pick the track that had, like, these little quirks that I knew I could, like, call out in the edit, and I would never, never pick a slower song or something that, like, I was like, "Man, I'm honestly, if I do this video for you, it's not gonna be as good as if I do this song for you because it's just speaking to me. I can, like, close my eyes, I can see things I wanna do. It's just jumping off the page, I
Yeah.
always song first for sure."
Huge announcement. Uppbeat has just added motion graphics to their website. They're the sponsor of this episode and the whole podcast season. So they've added things like overlays, animations, templates. You can use them in DaVinci, Premiere, After Effects, or just drag and drop. So if you guys are like me and aren't that skilled in the visual graphics, motion graphics department, be sure to sign up for free. Link is in my bio or the pinned comment. I actually use a lot of their stuff in these episodes, anywhere from the film burns to the subscribe button. Go check it out and don't forget to subscribe. All right, let's get on with the episode. Because you have like this music background, fashion, the colors, all that kind of stuff. But I also noticed that you have great choice in font, the typography for a lot of your stuff. Where does that come in?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important because sometimes you can have a real dope video and it'll look super sick, and then you throw on some font and it feels like word art from, like, back in, Microsoft Word, and I can't go at all for that, bro. I hate it. It'll destroy, in my opinion, it'll just destroy the integrity
Yeah.
of the video. Yeah, you're just like, "Dude, come on,
Oh my
man."
god.
And I would say fonts, but even, like, the spacing of, like, where things are, like, if you just throw things into Premiere and just, like, type the font and hit enter, it'll, like, give this ugly, like, super
Yeah.
duper wide space, so it's like, take every word, chop it up in its own space so you can put them exactly where you want to. I think that it's a graphic design thing, and I definitely can't say I'm a good graphic designer, but I like to really make sure that it's, like, intentional, and that it enhances the video. If the lighting's good, if the shots are good, then, like, the font also has to be good, man. Because otherwise, like I said, it'll just be like an eyesore in the video for me.
It's like you gotta complete the whole package. Like, you're gonna be lazy on this right now?
And I see it. Don't get me wrong, I got homies where I'm like, I'll tell them too. I'm like, "Hey, man," like, you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
"What's up, dog? Come on. Hey, tighten that up, bro. Like,
Yeah,
come on, man."
yeah. You start sending them like TXT files. You're like,
Yeah, come on, man.
the social media game. Quickly, how has that been for you? That this whole ride, especially because like you've been doing it for so long, and you probably have gone to the point where social media wasn't even a thing for us. Like we trickled into, a little bit, but now it's like at its all time high, and things are moving so fast. So it's like, how do you still stay relevant and like, okay, let me keep up with these kids right now?
It's funny because I used to, like, my posting, and it's still, like, not extremely consistent, but, like, I used to post, like, once in a year sometimes, and it would only be, like, the project that I worked on, right? It'd be like, "Oh, check out my latest project," and, no one really cared about, like, checking out your latest project
Yeah,
unless it was a
yeah.
music video, and even then, it was like, no one honestly really gave a crap. I would really, really, really barely use it, or, like, I would just kinda use it to check things out rather than to post so much, but then in the last year, really like March of 2024, it was very specifically with the goal of, like I said before, getting more talented, getting better with the camera, knowing that if I touch, because I would see so many people do things where I'm just like, "Yo, how is this person so good at coloring? How is this person so good at compositions? Like, I don't understand this. They don't even have their own production company. Like, what's going on
Yeah,
here?" You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And
Look
so
at
I was
me, I've
like,
been doing it for so long.
I've been doing this, and I'm like, like I said before, I'm depending on other people to make my stuff look good, and so I was kinda tired of that, and I was like, I want to be better. I want to be that dude when it comes to, like, if I have a camera in my hand, I'll be able to find a shot, I'll be able to make it look like a movie. So I was like, let's start with making content. Let's start with making these reels for literally no other purpose than to, like, get better, at the craft. It's been rewarding, like, it's been cool, like, people have been, like you said, even, like, you noticing and shouting us
Yeah.
out and just being like, "Man, this stuff is dope." Um, it's played its part. It did what I was supposed to do, and I still have so much room to grow and, like, a lot of things I still like to improve on, but it's been cool. What I'm trying to do is make sure my mind doesn't get on trying to keep up with the young kids or trying to be relevant or trying to get the views, because that was not why I started, and as soon as you start doing that, you start making, like, copy and paste, like I said, you made the same recipe because it tastes good, because people like it. I'm gonna do the same video again. And that's the thing, like you were saying earlier, you put a lot of effort into like a project or a piece where you're like, man, I know I spent a lot of hours on this one. I went back outside 3 times to get this shot. So like these mothers going, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
care. And like another thing is like just like depending on when you post. Like sometimes I don't post anything after Wednesday, like Wednesday or
Oh,
Thursday,
for
Thursday to
real?
Sunday. Like I just have nobody ever cares about anything I post Thursday through Sunday for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's cool that you actually look at that and you know and understand because you still gotta play a little bit of the game, I feel
You're
like.
absolutely right. And the thing is like you said, I just won't release anything that I care about after Thursday. Cause if I really like, if I'm like really caring about this and I'm like, oh man, I put so much effort into this, like I'm hoping that like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, early in the morning that people are gonna give it a little bit of love. And I've noticed like I said, though I am doing this to get better and that's like my sole purpose, I have started to get that like, you know, you start to it feels good when people, you know, like
Oh,
your shit. And so you're like,
you
all
can't
right,
deny it. You can't deny
yeah,
it.
all right, cool. That's the biggest thing. Like you said, getting consistent and posting has been like the bane of my existence. So there's a problem when you're trying to just like make heat like all the time, and there needs to be, you know, stuff that is a little bit of a lighter lift, so that way you could just be consistent and be present.
Yeah, stay top of mind. It's a bit of balance between some of the love for the craft and, feeding the algorithm a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Before we get to the video breakdowns, I just want to make sure you guys like this video and subscribe because it helps the channel out, it helps the brand out, and I really do appreciate it. All right, let's get to the video breakdowns. You said you went out to shoot a lot of the stuff after because you found the track after.
Yeah.
So like with everything, the idea of it, because it wasn't the music, where did the idea come from?
There was 0 idea. I knew I just wanted to shoot in the foggy day, and I was like, "Let me put on some clothes that will be cool, and, like, pop in this
Yeah.
kinda, like, this environment." There was, like, a couple things I tried that day. One was just, like, standing in a bunch of different places. I've done, like, masking stuff before, so I knew that, like, "Okay, let me see what that looks like." There's so much stuff that I shot in addition to this that I didn't use, but
For real.
yeah, oh yeah, there was tons of stuff. I just, like, piecemealed a couple things together, but the other thing I knew I wanted to try was, like that I actually didn't even use as well, was, like, this, like, falling from the sky thing. So I shot some stuff in like 120 of me jumping and like throwing my body up and doing all this stuff. And I had an idea that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to do this floating thing and you know, a couple of different things. But there really, really truly was no intention behind this video until after I heard the song and I started piecing things together. And I was like, let's just make something interesting.
So even like the cloning and masking, all that stuff, you didn't even know. You're just like, you know
That I
what? Let me.
knew that, like, I didn't know where it would fit in the video or if it needed to go in the video, but I was like, at the very least, if I have these pieces to work with, like these little pieces of the recipe, then I know that I could make something interesting, but I wasn't necessarily sure how I was gonna use it at the time.
With the visual effects, like the feels like electricity and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Did that just so happen to be because you were kind of like at these power lines or like
Yes.
ah
I wanna learn how to do more visual effects. I was looking at this and I was like, "Man, I would be if some of this stuff was, like, affecting me," you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it'd be
The
super
power
cool.
ups, power ups.
Yes, yes, and then there was that sign that was like danger, electrical current or something
Yeah.
like that, that I was like, "Okay, okay. I can't show this sign and not have some kind of electricity," you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
doing
yeah.
something there.
Fits a vibe for
Yeah.
sure.
The only thing I would say that was specific call out, like, while we were shooting that I knew was this like, this piano and the stairs.
On the stairs. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, "It's got this crazy piano piece," and I had this idea that, like, if we just move around on these stairs originally, it was just, like, moving in order, you know what I mean? Like, just kinda getting down a stair and him going up a stair, but then I was like, "Oh, you can kinda just move these around and it feels a little bit more interesting."
It does, cause it's like your eyes almost can't follow it,
Yep.
but, like, you get it, like, the vibe. This first initial mask, did you know all this stuff before, or is
No.
this stuff yeah,
That's
some of
just
the most
play, you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
messing
yeah,
around
yeah.
and seeing, like, what looks interesting, and I would like this to look even more interesting, and so I just tried something, and it was like, "Oh, I can't achieve what I was trying to do at the time, but let's just see what, you know, expanding this mask does and putting this frame behind it," and I was like, "Okay, this kinda looks cool. I'll
Yeah,
dig it,"
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
How often do you guys go out and shoot?
Not as often as we used to. So last year, I would say around January, February, my homie De Guzman, he was like, "Yo, um, I want to I wanna start making, like, social media content." And I was like, "Bro, I wanna start making social media."
You read
Me
my
too.
mind.
Yeah, yeah. And he was like, "Man, alright, well," he's like, "I don't really like doing it alone, so, like, if you're down, I'm down." And I was like, "Okay, this is perfect. This is the exact push I needed to, like,
Ah,
start making stuff." So, I was super duper happy about it, and I was like, "Let's start making stuff." So we just, like, scheduled, like, content days where we just go out and start shooting stuff, and at the time, like, the content was looking way different than it is now, like, 1 year ago. Like, 1 year
yeah.
ago, it was, like, a lot of trending audio, like, "Can I call you Rose?" Like, all those different,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
songs,
yeah.
so we just went and saved a bunch of the audios, and we're like, "Okay, let's make stuff to this audio," and then, it was a lot more basic. It was like, walk up into frame, hold your camera up, and then show an image of a picture you took or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
were doing stuff like that, and then I think we spent, like, a whole day doing stuff like that, and then at the end of the day, I have this, like, Tokina 11 to 16, and I threw that on, and at the time, I was using, my Blackmagic 6K. So, that's a big fat ass camera with that, like, runs through your battery so fast, and it's not ideal for, like, social content or just, like,
Yeah, yeah,
running
yeah, yeah.
around. But I threw that lens on there, and he was like, "Dude, this is the funnest." We spent like an hour and a half just doing that stuff, and it was like way more fun than the entire day. So we were like, yeah, high energy stuff is a blast. So
Yeah, I feel
yeah.
like, oh man, that's dope. And this is your boy that you have a production company with, right? That you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
started.
yep,
See,
yep.
so
He
it's
he's
like
in
it
Square.
almost is like comes full circle. It's like, yo, remember when we used to do this? Like link up and just film stuff for the hell of it? Like,
Dude,
you know
yes.
what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
that's like the dopest stuff.
It is, man. Cause like, that's the whole thing is like that when you get started, there's no client, right? So it's just like, what can I do? How
Free
far can I
reign.
take it? What's possible kind of thing, and at some point, this became my main source of income, and at that point, it was like client, client, client. There's not as much experimentation, there's not as much, like, "Where can I take this?" And it's more so, like, "Where am I gonna get my next check from?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it takes the fun out of it a bit. So getting back to this has been extremely refreshing, and it's just been
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I love this all over
Yeah,
again."
yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, "Man, I fell in love with you again." Like this
Yep.
video stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
I get it. I get it. The idea. Where does the idea come from?
This was another one of those just go out and shoot
Yeah,
some stuff, man.
I like it. I
You
like
know
it, bro. I like
you
it.
know what I mean? Like
You're like, "Yo, there's enough leaves right now.
yeah,
Oh, man, it's about to get
exactly.
raked."
Yo, these motherfuckers is about to get raked up. Like, I got some yard work to do, and I need to make some content. Like, I might as well bring the camera out. You
We're
know what I
getting
mean?
older. We got responsibilities. Let me like, dude.
Exactly.
No, I
Exactly.
like it. Yo,
Yeah,
that's
so
hilarious. No, I
it
like that. It doesn't even need to be a big thing. I was just like, okay, where did this idea? I like that it's even like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes, like, the thing that I have realized is you can find stuff in the edit. You find it in the edit. It's
mm,
amazing when you go in with intention and you have purpose and like everything comes together. Sometimes that could be discouraging because when you have a very specific vision and then you go try to execute and it doesn't look like what you had in your head, you could be like, "Damn, like this ain't it," and people can still love it. But you, because you knew what it looked like prior to going into it, you kinda, like, have this love-hate relationship with it.
yeah, yeah.
So, sometimes it's nice to just, like, go out, shoot some stuff, get some content, and then be like, where can I go with this? Let's shape this in the edit."
Yeah, finding it in the edit is great that not a lot of people really talk about. Like, it's kind of getting lost in it, and then you're like, "Oh, I could do this. What about
Yeah.
this? What about
Yeah,
this?"
yeah.
This shot, were you looking at it and being like, "Let me just come in and out of this light and just hit this like just perfectly"?
Yup, yup. I recently copped these they're called, like, TP Max. They're like these Teradeks video transmission for, like, a monitor, and they're, like, $100, and I've never seen, like, a Teradek kinda thing for $100, and I copped this thing because I was, like, same thing, shooting alone and not knowing if something's in focus because 'cause I've been
Yeah.
using autofocus for some of this stuff,
And
and
sometimes it doesn't like, if you're doing a lot, I can just only assume with these leaves, it's kinda crazy, especially if you're trying to
yes,
do that.
yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you it's nothing worse than, like, feeling like you got a shot and then going to look back at it and it's out of focus as hell, and you're just
Yeah.
like, "Damn." So I had to I was like, "You know what? Let's spend this $100, get this little video transmission system." So I have it, like, on the floor in front of me, in front of the like, out of frame, so
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
see exactly where the light was and make sure that I was, like, making sure that hits.
This shot too. Where is this? And what am I like looking at? Because I was like trying to figure it out. I was like, did he put it like what's is it something on the lens? Why does it
I
look like
just
this?
took a pile of leaves and then shoved the camera like, deep in there and then just started moving leaves little by little to create a little bit of a gap to
Oh.
then kinda get that shot, that POV
Yeah, it's
from
so
inside.
interesting because like that little piece on top too. I was like, did he mirror this top part or like do something with it? Nah. Oh, also like I want to ask the choice in pink or purple colored text is like
Yeah.
perfect. Why did you choose this color?
Part of it has to do with the shirt I'm wearing. In the like, the growth shot, there's,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit of that color from it, but what I do is I don't like white, or excuse me, for text specifically.
Was
Unless
there a
it's, like,
reason?
glowing, sometimes it's cool, but, like,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah,
most
yeah.
part, I like to make it, like, slightly off-white, like eggshell or something like that.
Yeah.
And I use that all over and over and over and over again. It's basically, like, orangish yellow, but then, like, dragged into a pastel area of that color,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it looks good, it looks really nice, and so I was like, "Oh, let me what if I turn this like green or pink or something and kept it in that same pastel area?" And I love Tyler, the Creator, and, like, this gives me, like, a Tyler vibe
Ah.
for sure, so I was like, "Imma lean into it," because like, even in the beginning, I go with, like, a crazy strong red. That's usually where I'm living. I'm living in,
That
like,
bold red. Yeah, yeah,
full saturation kinda things, so this was
yeah.
a nice little bit of a different vibe for sure.
The leaf shot, just getting into this. Is this
Yup. You exactly that. I did it like 100 times, and I wear glasses. I wear glasses by the way. I'm wearing contacts right now, but I was, like, all out of contacts, so I couldn't see shit,
yo,
and I
what?
was
You're
like,
nuts. Having to run the focus doing some of this stuff?
"Bro, this is one of those moments, man, where I was stressed out," and I did this, like, a million times. I threw it up, put it at 120, laid down, and I had, like, a twig hit me, like, dead in the eye a couple of times, and I had so much, like, leaf debris in my eyes after this. I was like, "I hope one of these works, man, for real."
So do you storyboard any of this stuff? Or nah, you
Nah,
just
not really. I'm not really good at storyboarding, I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah.
When it comes to, like, making, like, music videos and stuff, I will frame set a bunch of stuff and, like, kinda create a storyboard via, shots from movies or, like,
Yeah.
figure out the frame, because I'm like not that you have to be good at drawing, obviously, everybody who does it says that they just use, like, draw stick figures and stuff like that, but
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
mind doesn't always work that well when it comes to, like, creating an image, that I wanna see. I'm much better with, like, inspiration or reference material,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
It
I'll
gets
usually
worse
just
if you do it yourself. You're like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
more
like and then
confused
you
now.
get the shot and it's like, "This looks like the stick this looks like that drawing, bro, like, what is this?"
You don't get
Yep.
anything. You're like, all right, well, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So I've seen a couple of things recently where folks just talk about like for every wide shot, get 2 detail shots or get 2 close-ups. The lens I'm using, I use a 35 mil G Master, and that lens is like its sweet spot is when you're like fairly close to something. So I'm like, when I get wide shots, they're cool, but like I need to make sure either something's in the foreground that is out of focus, or I need to go in and make sure I get those closies.
So for this, is this just okay, yo, I'm gonna stop on the dime and like hopefully this autofocus catches it type of
Yeah,
type of
this
thing?
is a pain in the ass moment. This definitely took a lot of tries. This is an electric bike, and what I realized is if I keep my foot at the exact same space, don't pedal, but just like use the throttle to like move forward, and then I put like some stuff on the ground, like a stick or a twig on the
So you know
ground to
where
know
to
like
stop on the dime.
my wheel has to be here if I want my shoe to be in the frame kinda thing. I got lucky with, like, the focus pull, for sure, for sure. That was not planned at all. I got real lucky with the fact that it pulled to focus and then, like, I was able to take off. It was shot,
Wow.
like, 20 times trying to make sure I get it right, and then I have my monitor. Once again, it's hard to see sometimes, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
always use a monitor. The little screen on the camera just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't give me the full effect of what's possible. Unless I have to go that route, I won't. I always slap a monitor on there, so I was able to see semi decently if I was, like, hitting that mark, but then I was just like, "Let me just do this, like, 20 times to be sure."
And are you shooting these? 16 by 9, or are you going 9 by 60, like vertical?
I'm going 9 by 16, yeah, for sure.
Wow, okay.
I did shoot a lot of stuff 16 by 9 in the past, but have realized that, it looks a lot better when you shoot it 9 by
Yeah, when you're
16. Yeah.
framing. Before
Yeah.
I used to just like crop everything, but yeah,
Yep, yep,
for
yep,
sure, for
yep.
sure. The location and stuff. Like, where did you even get this? Oh, did you know you wanted to shoot in this spot? Were you on set and you're like, yo, I gotta shoot something here, or like
That was it. That was
you're
it. That
on
was
set
it.
shooting something else and you're like,
Yes.
I gotta take one for me.
Yep, yep. Like, literally, the homie, her name's Gracie, G Code Films, she says, "Oh my god, side quest video turned out amazing." Because I was on her set. She was directing a commercial for Adobe, and I was just the BTS guy. I was just shooting BTS on her
Oh,
set, and I was like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." I went to the bathroom, I was like, "What the fuck? This is the rawest bathroom I've ever seen in my life, bro." I was like, "This looks crazy." I was like, "If I don't make something in here, like,
bro, you're running outside grabbing your
shame on me."
camera.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey, 10-2, 10-2, I gotta go to the bathroom, yo."
No one come
Once I
inside.
got there, I was like, "I need to capitalize on this
Ah,
location. I don't know when the next time I'm gonna be here is. I'm not about to rent this space out again soon." So, it was like,
yeah.
make something. And honestly, even, like, the color is drastically different than it looks in camera.
Oh, for
It was,
real.
like, super duper blue and pink. I just started, like, coloring in DaVinci, so I was able to, like, start to really peel things away and, like, make it look different. When you shoot RGB sometimes, like, when you shoot with a super duper strong pink light or blue light, sometimes it just looks real whack. Like,
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be cool in, like, in the vision, like, to see with your eyes, it looks really cool, but when you see it on camera, it could be real strong and, like, not look fire. So that was kinda like what this was looking like, and I was like, "Man, let me see where I can pull this," and I pulled it in some directions that I got happy with, and I was like, "This feels good, it feels gritty." A lot of my stuff is not planned. I was like, "Dude, what am I gonna do in this space? There's a toilet here. I'm not gonna go to the bathroom, right?"
Yeah.
I'm not
Look at
I
this
can't act like
storyline.
yeah, right? Like, I can't do that. So I was like, maybe I'll just act like I'm throwing something up. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
feels way more interesting than, like, taking a deuce or something. So I was like, yeah, so I was like, "Maybe just do that," and then, I didn't know I was gonna glitch anything. Once again, that was kinda found in the edit. Then it was like, "How can I make it more interesting? Let's add some glitchy effects in there." I ended up enhancing it a bit by, like, adding the sound effects of, like, a toilet flushing or the water running, and then chopping the sound effect too to match, like, the glitch, and I was like, "Oh, this feels pretty decent. Okay, cool, cool, cool. This feels good."
Yeah, finding it in the edit, you
Yeah.
know?
Hey, yo, check this out. That's dope, right? Hey, cut it.
The idea of this, it feels very unique. How was the process from idea to actually the end product?
This one definitely was, like, the only idea, like, well thought idea or creative idea I had when I was in New York at the time. I knew I wanted to shoot, content. I was out there to shoot a couple of music videos at the time. I need to shoot New York content while I'm in New York, and a couple of the things I shot were just, like, postcard images of just, like, a still frame that kinda looked interesting. I was with my homie De Guzman, and we were in the hotel, and I was like, I need to think of something that's interesting. Don't know why, but I thought, what if I slap this street sign and change it from day to night? Like, that seems cool. That seems like it could be cool. And so we went out, filming, and this was kinda like after we finished our music video, we had some time to kill. We were by this, I think it's the Manhattan Bridge, and I was like, "This seems like," it's not the perfect space, it's not the best composition is possible, but I was like, "I need to get this idea off, so I'm
Yeah.
just gonna let's start this process." So I set up the camera, and literally there was, like, a bunch of, like, old gum on the floor that had been, like, you know heated by the sun, and now it's just, like, stuck on the ground, and I was like, "I'm gonna put my tripod legs right by this piece of gum and that piece of gum, so that way we can try to, match this composition, match this frame as good as possible." And then I was
Ah.
like, "Alright, cool, let's roll it." Slap the sign. We went and got dinner a couple blocks away, and then came back for, like, the dusk shot. Found those pieces of gum, put the thing back. I have a small HD monitor, and one thing I love about the small HD monitor is you can do this image recall thing where you, like, snap an image
And then
of
it
your
almost
previous
like
frame
it's over.
and
Yeah.
you overlay it. So I was able to use that, to try to get it as close as possible, and it's not perfect, but It worked. So I wasn't crazy about it. Like I actually sat on this for a little while because I was like, oh, the color doesn't look as great as I want to. The composition doesn't look as great as I want to. So I kind of just like sat with it for a little while. And then one day I was just like, I need something to edit. So I started playing with this. The idea came to like, maybe if I make it feel like a phone shot, it won't be as critical in my head of like, oh, this is shot on a good camera and it just doesn't look as good as how I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So I threw the little phone overlay on there. All the audio is ADR, it's all done after the fact. So I was like, what if I made this feel like a gimmick or like, hey, bro, you want to see this cool thing I can do? And so I was literally in this room like, yo, check this out, dog. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
he
remember
recorded
that.
for me, and then I was like, "Oh, cool. This feels good." And then I was like, "Oh, I gotta like holler something from across the way because I did not. I just kept walking. There was no talking in the actual shop, so I went outside of my house and I took the microphone and I put it like like
Same kind of
20 feet away from
distance.
me.
Yeah,
Yep, and I
roughly.
was like, "Hey, yo, can you cut it, bro?" And I was like, "Okay, okay, now with the audio and these words and then adding, like, the little snap and all this stuff, now this feels good to me." And so I was excited about I was like, "Okay, I can share this, I feel good about it
What?
now."
That is actually so dope. Oh, man, and then adding, like, the little switch at the top.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't sure if it was corny, which I mean, part of me thought it was, but at the same time, I was like, this little day for night or like dark mode kind of thing, it feels good. I was looking them up on YouTube because I just was like, dark mode, green screen kind of thing on YouTube, and I found this one. This feels kind of cool, so I slapped it up there,
Yeah, no,
and
I like
it
it.
worked out.
When you say, like, finding it in the edit, like, it literally is, like, you did all this stuff, you didn't like it, and all of a sudden you start putting the puzzle pieces together, and you're like, "Oh, no, now this is like," and then you wanna go the extra mile. Like, "Yo, let me
Yes.
record something at the other end,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
let me put
yeah.
my mic here." Ah, that is dope.
Yeah, I learned not to discount stuff because you can layer cake stuff up, like, you know what I'm saying? Just throw some layers on there and, the
Yeah,
audio and
absolutely.
this piece that's moving from night mode to dark mode, like and when you start to layer stuff, it starts to feel like if you can't control the shot that you got, you can control other things, and so, sound design is one of the things that I, like, really, really, really am into and I enjoy. People talk about all the time, you could have an okay looking image, but if you have some really great audio or really great sound, like you can close your eyes and listen and it can feel good enough without even seeing a visual. So if you can kind of get the audio up to a place that it needs to be, then everything else could potentially fall into place. One thing I've recognized a couple years back was like in the music video like world was like I need to make something that impresses myself. I need to quit worrying about impressing other people because like I used to want to impress the artist I was working with. And like I said so many times that is the taste is different. So they're just like, this is cool, but like and I was like, all right, if I can impress myself because I feel like I've come to have like a decent taste where I'm like if I like it, somebody's gotta like this. That's the goal, and then I just started reading this book by Rick Rubin,
Creative
called
act.
The Creative Act. Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
love
starting
it.
to read that too.
Dude,
Like,
so
legit.
many
Yeah.
gems, so many refreshing moments, but he definitely talks about that. He's like, "The artwork comes first, you come second, the audience comes
Audience.
last." Yeah, 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 yeah.
You always gotta
So,
remember that. You
yep.
always gotta remember that. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast, I think you guys would like this episode. Go check it out.